My name's Dave DeBoe, founder of MoneyPartnerFormula.com, and this show is built for everyday real estate investors who are actively doing deals and looking to scale using other people's money. So if you're an active real estate investor and you want to get featured on this show to talk about your own real estate and capital raising experiences, then just go to daveinterviewsyou.com. Now let's get rolling with this episode, and remember to subscribe for daily interview content. Hey folks, welcome back. Let me ask you this. Have you ever heard of Miami, Florida? Of course you have. Have you ever been there? Do you want to be there? Do you want to go back there? Do you want to invest there? If so, today's special guest, Alex Giassa, is the guy to talk with. He is a Miami-based real estate professional. He works with local and international investors to help them get into the Miami market. And today we're going to have an interesting conversation about something I think I know what it is, but I'm not 100% sure, and that is Condotels, as well as we'll probably talk a little bit about short-term rentals as well. So Alex, great to have you. Nice to meet you.
Dave, thank you very much. Great to be here. Thank you.
All right. So first things first, Alex, we're filming this July 2024. Hurricane season's come in a little bit early in your neck of the woods. What is the market looking like in Miami at this particular time?
So for the last few years, it's been very hot. And I'm not talking about the weather. I'm talking about the market.
Yeah.
And it has gotten a little cooler, but I wouldn't say it's cool.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of interest coming from different parts of the world, even just from Florida, people moving in and moving out. So it's pretty active.
Yeah, very, very good. All right. So let's talk a little bit about condotels. So give us a definition. What is a condotel?
I always thought it was kind of obvious, and unfortunately it's not, right? The word condotel. It's actually two words joined together, condominium hotel. And it's basically the ownership is where you, for example, own your unit. So one out of, let's say, 45 units, you own it as your sole proprietor, whatever it may be, LLC. And then it's run like a hotel. It's managed like a hotel. So there's a front desk. There may be a valet, a bellboy, all those things. And it might be more resort style. May have some amenities here or there. It just really depends on the dwelling, the building. If it even has a Hilton brand on it, for example, or anything along those lines. So it's very, most of the units tend to be studios and one bedrooms. Sometimes you'll see 2, 3, never 4.
All right. So basically, correct me if I'm wrong, it's a hotel that's been sliced and diced up into individual units. So you can own your own hotel room and rent it out. Is that basically what I'm understanding there?
Yes, and you have the benefit of using it as well. So
Yeah.
there are limitations, right? Just like anything, blackout dates. We're familiar with those terms when it comes to a hotel. So there may be some limitations as to how long or when, but as the owner, you also get to use it, pass it on to a friend, family member, whatever it may be. And then while you're not using it, if you put it in the hotel program, which I normally advise because it's very much a hands-free process, it enables you to basically have them book it, clean it, and then just book it again. And that's their priority. It's not, they don't show preference to anyone. They want to keep it going. They want to keep them filled because the more money they make, the more money you make, the more money everybody makes.
What's the difference between this and a timeshare?
Okay, so a timeshare is very different in the sense that you don't actually own the property. It's more of a contract. And you are able also to move that contract from one place to another. You don't have that ability here. You own the deed to this actual condominium.
All right. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Very, very cool. Thank you very much for that explanation. What does this look like? Like in your experience working with investors, what does this look like in actual dollars and cents? So I know every unit's going to be different in location and size and all that kind of stuff. But let's say we're looking at a standard studio suite, something that looks more like a traditional hotel room in one of these kind of units. What's been your experience of how much these units go for? give or
Sure,
take?
I'll give you an example. We just
Yeah,
closed one last week here in
perfect.
Miami Beach. It's called the Bay Hotel. Wonderful little place, 45 units. It's got um, a coffee spot downstairs, so perfect for the what do they call them, digital nomads, or
Mhm.
just somebody who wants to grab a cup of coffee in the morning. The units are generally, yes, they're hotel-like, but they started making them look a little more homely, friendly, chic in some ways.
Have they
And
got like a kitchenette in them or anything like that? Yeah.
exactly, they
Okay.
do.
Yeah.
So washer, dryer, dishwasher in some cases. And it's kind of weird considering you don't have an oven. You do have a toaster oven, sometimes a microwave, things along those lines. And then there's always, I'm not gonna say, sorry, I take back always. There's usually easy access to food in those areas, especially
Mhm.
in this one that I'm talking about in Miami Beach. So this one in particular, we closed on at 3:30,
Okay.
3:35.
335. Yeah.
Um, my client actually paid cash for it, and he's looking to make after all his expenses and all that, he's somewhere in the 15 to 20% range, cash on cash.
Okay. So 335 and this is kind of like a studio type
It is.
unit?
Actually, no,
Yeah.
it's a one bedroom,
One bedroom. Okay.
so it can sleep four.
Okay. So it's like queen size bed plus a pull-out couch idea
Correct.
in the
And
living room.
balcony.
Okay. Very cool. And 335, that's what he paid for it. Now, explain to me the back end. How does the revenue work? How does that work between, you know, the hotel, like who own what's the brand that this Condotels in, and how does that side of it work, Alex?
Sure. So this condotel is one of three smaller sized buildings throughout Miami Beach. They're Escapade Collection is actually the name of the brand.
Mhm.
And this one in particular is, as I mentioned, 45 units. It's managed by the Escapade Collection. They have a hotel program where you pay into it, or it's deducted from your monthly income. Um, Cleaning, maintenance, anything along those lines that is
Yeah.
particular, the booking process, et cetera. All that is deducted from your monthly income, and then you receive a direct deposit in your account of the difference. You also, your HOAs are paid in that way as well. The only thing that's not paid that way is your taxes.
Mm.
So
Okay.
you do have to pay your taxes at the end of the year. We do it differently here in Florida. I don't know how everyone else does it, but here we do it at the end of the year, and you can pay it in lump sum or monthly. So it depends on how you prefer to do it. You can also go Airbnb and do it yourself, but it becomes a little challenging in my
Yeah.
opinion. And I looked at it with my client, and it didn't really make that much sense. He would have to be more involved, and he didn't want to be more involved.
Yeah, he's looking for a passive investment. So, okay, how much are these fees per month, or is it a percentage of revenue? So, in other words, if by some fluke Miami has a solid month of hurricanes and nobody's in my unit, what's happening then?
It is based on a percentage.
Okay.
So in this case, it was 35%.
Hmm.
And then there are some additional fees here and there, like I mentioned, the HOA. And that then, like you said, if you have a hurricane, if you have a dry spell, it does affect your bottom dollar, but at least you're not paying, other than your HOA, which you would normally if you were living in the unit, you're not
Hmm.
paying for anything more than what's being used.
So it's 35% of gross plus your HOA. So 35% is what the hotel's charging for everything, including cleaning and maintenance and everything. So
Correct.
that's sounds quasi reasonable actually. How much is the HOA on a unit like this?
Yes, in this case, it's 950,
So about a
which
thousand bucks a month.
it is. And
Yeah.
and some people look at that as pretty high, and I could understand that,
Mhm.
especially those who aren't used to HOAs or don't like HOAs. But it does provide, you have to remember what HOAs do other than, being a governing board per se. They do provide reserves for the building. If you're familiar with the Surfside collapse here in Miami, it does build reserves so that when something does come up, there's money to put towards that. It does also maintain the building. They just redid the floors in all the units. In the next year, they're going to be redoing some vanities and other aspects of these units as well.
Okay, so the HOA basically covers a lot of the maintenance type stuff. So what is the maintenance that's included in the 30 or part of the 35%? Is that separate from that? I'm just trying
It
to get my
is,
head around.
it is.
Yeah.
So you have obviously your cleaning crew. You
Yeah.
have any maintenance and repairs in the unit. So if something is, let's
The
just say
microwave
something's
breaks or something like that.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
They'll
yeah.
go in, replace it, etc. Then when it pool, you also have a pool, so there's maintenance on that.
Yeah.
Cleaning the building all around that as well. And that pretty much staff. Staff takes up a lot of that.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, thank you very much for the explanation. This is interesting. Now, this client of yours went in, purchased the unit all cash. A lot of people probably don't want to do that or aren't in the position to do that. What are you looking at if you get this financed? Does it still make sense? Is it still a reasonably good investment, or what have you seen with other investors?
That's a really good question. And unfortunately, it doesn't always make sense. It's probably going to put you technically upside down, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're not, your best bet is to at least be 50% in
Yeah.
LTV. Most of the cases, there's some varies here and there. But I would say that this is really an ideal situation where you're looking to diversify your investments. So if you're solely a stock person, this is a great way maybe to pull some money out of the stock market when it's going downward as opposed to upward and put it somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing about Condotels is that they do not gain equity like a regular condo or single family home. The equity,
It's not
it doesn't.
appreciating. Yeah.
It doesn't. It's really a way to manage and create cash.
It's a
Cash on.
cash flow play
It
is
is
what it is. Yeah.
correct.
Yeah, that makes sense too. All right. Yeah. So getting highly leveraged financing is not going to make sense for this. It's a good place to park a chunk of cash, get a decent cash on cash return on it, backed by something solid, a real piece of property. Now, how do you see your clients actually using their units? Like, is it how big are these blackout periods? When are they usually? How does that kind of work, Alex?
Good question. So obviously it varies. We all know that varies from location to location.
Well, let's say
But
Miami. That's what we're talking about.
yeah.
Yeah.
But in this case, I'll give you some examples. When we have some high season events, Art Basel, pretty soon we'll have the World Cup, right, in 2026.
Mhm.
So those are times when you will see blackout dates pop up because they know they're going to make significantly more money and it doesn't make sense to turn it over to family.
Mhm.
So that's when you'll see those blackout dates. Usually you'll also see them around peak holidays. So you won't see it on the 4th of July as much, but you'll definitely see it on the Christmas side, the Thanksgiving side, etc. However, if you need to have a family member in, maybe they won't be able to be in your unit, but they can be in another unit in that same building and still reap the benefit of, for example, not paying full price or you pay for them, whatever the arrangement is.
Okay, very, very cool. What are some of the other kind of properties you see your investor clients investing in these days in Miami, in and around Miami?
So similarly, there are a lot of pre-construction, short-term rental and condotel units available
Hmm.
now. Yeah, I would say that I'm probably going to say 40% of our inventory between what's up and what's going to be up in 2026 is likely to be short-term rental in some capacity. You won't see as many 1-day minimums. You'll see some 30-day minimums. That's more likely. And that's partly because in some areas, they want to keep the transient population, that whole feeling. They want to keep that out because they want to make it a little more home friendly, family friendly areas.
Right.
So in downtown Miami, you'll see single day occupancy minimums. In North Beach, Miami, North Miami Beach, you'll see 30-day minimums. And again, that plays into zoning requirements and also what the building owner may want to do.
Very, very interesting. So maybe explain to me these purpose-built short-term rental properties. What do those look like? What's the difference between those and like the condo hotel? Compare and contrast, if you would.
Sure. So when you have a 30-day minimum, it means that basically you cannot rent it out for anything less than 30
Yeah,
days.
so that would be a midterm rental for sure.
Exactly,
Yeah.
correct, midterm. So ideal for, let's say, a business worker, a digital nomad, again, we keep bringing that person up. A business, someone who's coming in to work for, let's say, Microsoft here in the area, and they need to be here for 6 months. Perfect situation. It has all the amenities that a condo would, and then some more. It may have a front desk that they can call down to and have services for them. It really has a combination of the two, but you do tend to see the same people. So it gives you a little bit more of a home-like feeling as opposed to being in a hotel. And
Got
the rooms are less hotel looking. They're more home looking, more of a home style.
it. Okay, and I guess my question was, there is the option for like the single day stay, short-term rental in certain areas. And some of these properties are being built specifically for that. Am I understanding that correctly? So these are
Correct.
like
So
apartment buildings getting built up and the units are being sold, and most of the buyers are turning around and renting them as short-term rentals. Is that correct?
correct. And that's again in downtown Miami.
Yeah.
And then also Miami Beach, you'll see that. Once you step away from that area, it gets a little more strict and 30-day minimums.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, well that's very interesting to know. There's so many other areas and municipalities that are really clamping down on
Mhm.
Airbnb and short-term rentals. Sounds like Miami's still pretty friendly to it.
To a point. And to what you said, we are experiencing some pains because of that, just like everywhere else. Limited amount of housing for our workforce, limited amount of housing for people who just want to move here.
Yeah.
The nice thing is that I can speak directly to Miami Beach. They have a map. You can go online and see it, and it clearly, shows you where short-term rentals are legal and where they are not.
Mm.
And it's interesting because the state of Florida doesn't really allow for this type of zoning, but Miami Beach has gotten away with it, and probably not gotten away with it, but has been smart about it because it works with their hotel areas as opposed to, you're not just going to
Residential.
drop something in a residential area like a hotel. So they've been pretty smart about how to navigate the system.
Very cool. Very interesting. Alex, this has been fascinating. Thank you very much for your insights, the explanation, the distinction between condotels and short-term rentals and midterm rentals. Interesting stuff. If people want to connect with you and find out more, what can they do? Where should they go?
Sure. First of all, thank you very much. It's been my pleasure. I enjoyed this immensely. And they can reach out to me at livingin.miami. So again, that's livingin.miami.
Doesn't get much better of a website than that, my friend.
Or easier, right?
Awesome. This has been great. Thank you very much, Alex, and everybody else. Take care. We'll see you on the next episode. Hey there. I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And as always, if you want to listen to more daily interview content, make sure you subscribe. And if you're an active real estate investor and you're doing deals and you'd like to get featured on this show, then just head over to daveinterviewyou.com. Now, at moneypartnerformula.com, we help real estate investors to create a process for predictably getting capital so they can do more deals without relying on hard money lenders or the banks. We do this by building them a private capital marketing system. Now, if you want help turning yourself into a big money capital attraction machine, then book a call with our team to see how we can help. Just visit moneypartnerformula.com to find out more. All right, take care, and we'll see you on the next interview.